So let's be honest, hotel distribution is a real mess. You invested in meta search engines to have your direct prices displayed amongst all others, so those of Booking.com, for example, Expedia, and all other OTAs. You make sure your direct channels, so website and booking engine, show up with the cheapest rate, the cheapest price, and most of the times it looks good. But does it look the same for your prospective customer who made the exact same search but simply from other countries, even from other cities within the same country? Because probably you know it, the location, meaning where the searcher comes from, is one of the OTA's most favorite variables for them to play around with and for them to play with your rates unbeknownst to you. So today I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can adopt to kind of simulate the booking search as if you were your customers coming from all over the world. This will give you a better understanding of your distribution health and of course an indication as to where you should put your hands on and who you should reach out to in order to get this problem fixed. This and more coming up, so let's dig in. Okay, here we are. So to simulate exactly what I just mentioned, let's assume, and let's take my example in the sense that I am in Thailand, specifically in Chiang Mai, north of Thailand, and therefore let's assume that I am the owner or a manager of a hotel in Chiang Mai, Thailand. More precisely, let's assume that this is my hotel. I just take these names simply because there cannot be any shorter name than this, U Chiang Mai. So if I search for my hotel on Google in my country, these are, for example, the first results that are popping up on Google hotel ads on the right hand side. All right, so you have, for example, the official website. There is TripAdvisor popping up with a cheaper deal. Yes, fine, but Agoda, Booking.com are in parity. All right, these are more or less the results. I don't want to go into the view more rates because this is beyond the point. But okay, let's assume that, for example, for my hotel, for this hotel, my main market, one of my main feeder market is, for example, Italy. I might want to make a search or to simulate a search as if I was in Italy, because I want to see what do they see. So in order to do so, first of all, what I would suggest you doing is to not use your current browser, like in this case is Chrome, but at least to use an incognito mode. I will tell you later on why. But example, if you're using Chrome, 3 dots menu at the top right corner, new incognito window. That will open a new window, and now we just said that we are going to test Italy. So first of all, let's go to the specific pause of Google, which is .it. Now, this is not going to be enough in the sense that, well, first of all, you see that everything is in Thai because I am in Thailand, therefore Google assumes that I might be a Thai user. Second, I can switch and swap from Thai to Italian or English simply because those are the two languages that I've set up in my Google account, and therefore it kind of recognizes it. But anyway, let's switch to English so that we can understand what we are going through. If you notice on the bottom left, you will see Thailand, which is essentially my location. So even though I'm connected to the POS of Google in Italy, Google will recognize me as being in Thailand, therefore will likely show me the results as if I was in Thailand, but this is not what we want. So in order to change it, we need to go on the other side, so settings, search settings, and if we scroll all the way down, we'll see the region settings. And now in my case, in most cases, if you're using Chrome anyway, you will see this setup, so current region. And of course, we might want to change it to Italy in this very specific case. So let's go save it, agree. All right, now you see that I am in Italy. On the POS of Google in Italy, and I am in Italy. And now let's make the exact same search as I did before. So let's see what's popping up. And you already see that, for example, there are different results because, for example, now Agoda, who before used to be in parity, now is no longer in parity. Also, the currency, of course, is different because the currency is automatically applied by Google depending on the country where the search comes from. But anyway, like in this case, 69 was before it was not in this parity. So let me check here, for example. Okay, yeah, but the dates were different. So 18th of December, Let me go check on the other side. But besides that, you see the point that the results might be different. And that's why it's better always to check and to make these kind of checks every now and then in order to see. Oh, but you see, anyway, it's cheaper, even though I selected the exact same dates on the two browsers. So on the google.com from Thailand and Google IT from Italy. Now Agoda, for example, is one of those that pops up with a cheaper rate, also trip.com. But you see, this is exactly what these guys do, because that's where they get most of their reservations from. And like I said, country where the search comes from is probably one of the most used and most important and revenue-able variables for them to essentially make money and to earn more commissions. Now the second option is a little bit, it requires an additional step, but in my opinion is even more reliable, in the sense that you definitely connect via VPN to a separate service, a separate server and a separate country. Now this is, for example, the VPN tool that I use is called ExpertVPN. I'm not endorsing them, all right, because there are many VPN tools. This is super easy to use. It's the one that I've been using for more than 3 years now. They come at a cost, but very little cost, like peanuts. This ExpressVPN, I don't honestly remember how much I pay, but I guess it's around $6 or $7 per month. Yeah, something like that. So I guess I pay around $100 a year. But it's super simple. It sounds very complex and very techy, but it's super simple. This is how it looks like. You simply select the country where you want to connect to. Like in my case, I want to see the results as if I was in Italy. Okay, cool. Then I search Italy. You might even have a multiple option, like in this case is Milan, for example, and simple as that. Now, I am connected to a server in Italy, and therefore now the results on Google, but also on any other websites, will be as if I was in Italy. All right, so these were the two options that I wanted to show you. There is another thing that you will need to consider, which is about cookies. In other words, when you do this kind of activity, this kind of checks and audits, make sure to clear your cookies. I'm not going to show you how to clear your cookies because I guess you know that, and it also depends on the browser that you're using. Now in this case I'm using Chrome, but if you're using Firefox, the process is slightly different. But clear your cookies, especially if you want to do these checks, to consider and to see what your prices are as if you were a customer in a different country, or a prospective customer in a different country, on the OTAs. Because like I said, now I show you Google Hotel Ads, so the results on Google, but the OTAs play a lot around with cookies, and essentially cookies are pieces of information that they install on your browser that are, information about you. For example, where did you come from? For example, one of the cookies that Expedia mostly make use of is to assess the source. So are you visiting expedia.com.it.fr, wherever? Are you visiting Expedia website directly from Expedia, from Google, from TripAdvisor? Expedia knows that thanks to cookies, and therefore in order to see exactly what a clear situation is, clear your cookies before doing so, and after that you might want to check what the situation is. All right, so these were the two ways that I will consider adopting for checking, for making our distribution checks, distribution audits. Now, I guess you might wonder what next? Okay, what do you do when you detect these cases? And this is, of course, the most difficult part. As a matter of fact, what I just show you is not the solution per se, but it's the beginning of the solution. At least you have a starting point, and you know who you should get in contact with in order to get the situation fixed. And this is already quite a lot, because if you consider what I said at the very beginning, and I guess we all agree that hotel distribution is really a mess, having at least a starting point is already a good starting point. Now, what to do next? It's not going to be easy in the sense that what you should be doing is essentially just collect case studies. So collect these cases, create some sort of case studies with screenshots, document what you see, and show them, share them with your respective account manager, market manager, depending on the OTAs, if we are talking about OTAs who you have a direct contract with. If it comes to, I used to call them AMOMA cases, or an uncontracted OTAs, those OTAs that are essentially not contracted directly by you, but they kind of pooled rates or negotiated rates, or even FIT rates from other third-party channels or other wholesalers. Well, in that case, you need to go to the source, and the best case, you actually have to make, for example, a booking test to see where ultimately that reservation is coming from, and finally get in contact with the source cause of the problem. I know it's not easy, but unfortunately there is no other way. However, if you do so, more likely will take a little bit of time, and your distribution health is going to get way better. All right, this is it for it, and I'll see you again with the next video.